right, here on SportsGrid, it's Pro Football Today, an hour to kick off. Kevin Walsh, Joe Lisi. We'll talk to NFL insider Adam Kaplan on our next segment. We still got Pro Football Doc. Dr. David Chow joining us here as well on this Sunday. Joe, I want to try and throw something a little up your alley at you.
Go ahead.
If I can find it, and I can. Plus 850, will there be overtime?
How are we getting there?
Touchdown Jets. They kicked the extra point because they would never go for two to go up 9.
We should have taken the 380 because they're going to have to go for 2.
Will there be a 2-point conversion? Yeah. And then, Denver ties at 18-18.
All right, there you go.
You think it's got any life?
No.
What do you see right now for the remaining 12 minutes?
13-11, Denver wins.
Oh, really?
That has the MO written on. They're playing not to lose, the Jets. They're running the football.
They are running the football.
Shortening the game, hoping that the defense can stand up. And right now, they don't have the better offense. Even though they have the lead, they do not have the more consistent offense with a passing attack. And again, what's going to happen is they're going to come to a point, they're going to punt the football. Bo Nix is all of a sudden going to come into a rhythm. They're going to kick a field goal, and they're going to lose it by 2.
Bo Nix has not completed a pass in the second half.
He will.
And still
Don't
has
worry.
almost 100 more yards than Justin Fields.
I know.
This is ridiculous.
This is playing not to lose. This is losing football 101.
But
this
honestly,
is high school.
Across the board right now, Joe, we talk about the talent that's on the Jets. What do you do here?
Bad spot. That's a bad spot.
I actually don't think it is. He fell down. What do you do here?
He's not going to go for it. Aaron Glenn?
No, it's short. Is he screaming punt into his microphone? Yeah, he is.
No, he's not.
He was dying to punt.
Man,
yeah.
It's obvious he wasn't part of that mentality with Dan Campbell, was he?
No, it's a good call, Joe.
He wasn't part.
Because that's an obvious go for it, right?
Is he punting?
Definitely.
No, he's not.
I don't believe in it. Really?
What's he doing?
What's he just going to delay a game? If you call timeout, you have to go for it.
Yes.
Right? And that's what they did. You cannot call a timeout to punt.
No.
So, all right.
This guy looks.
Here comes the biggest play of the game for the Jets.
Absolutely lost.
They all look lost,
look.
Joe, they all look lost. Come on. Really?
No emotion. He was hugging and kissing when they played Tampa Bay. Now no emotion.
You know what we haven't talked a lot about, Joe? It's just Denver as a team. A lot of people with Denver's victory over Philadelphia felt real in on that group. Ooh, this is one of the 6-7 best teams in football. I'm not there with them, and I'm not just saying that because of right now.
They lost 2 games by what? Less than a field goal? They lost to the Chargers. And
they got beat by walk-off field goals in each of their 2 losses, to be fair.
So
my gosh.
He's punting? Unbelievable. This is what I'm talking about. Unbelievable. Is he going to fake this?
Joe, it's a yard.
He doesn't have the guts.
You've got a unit at quarterback.
Unbelievable.
If anything, just challenge it then. If you're going to waste the timeout.
Pathetic football right now. They're going to lose it by 2 points.
Well, I mean,
can we jump in on Bo Nix now?
For what?
Just passing yards.
It's at 180.5. My goodness. I have. Look at that Fields number. 63.5. You call him a winner again, I'm jumping across.
Kid's a winner. If he wins it 11-10, that's all that matters. Get me those W's.
Who are they booking as the live favorite here? Denver. You can get the Jets plus 2.5, minus 166.
Look, bottom line is this. They're terrible.
Who?
They got the Jets. They got gifted 11 points, basically. and now they're going to lose it based off their play calling. You could, if your whole process was to burn the clock, you could have gotten the first down and taken another 3 or 4 minutes off the clock.
Yeah.
In that aspect.
Now, go ahead.
They're going to get the football back down 13-11, probably with a minute 20 left.
No.
Yeah, you watch.
No.
Yeah.
Denver's at the 20.
And then Garrett Wilson.
Denver can't do anything right now, Joe. J.K. Dobbins is 10 for 23.
Watch this drive. Watch what happens.
Through the air or on the ground?
Through the air. All of a sudden, they'll find their mojo again.
First play pass?
Yep, absolutely.
Do we have that anywhere? That's what I'm thinking.
They're not going to run it because now Peyton, with 10 minutes left, is going to get more aggressive with the play calling because, again, these coaches don't do it. You see it in college all the time. You're trailing by 7 points. They're allowing the play clock to run down to 5 seconds, wasting 35 seconds on every single play with the hope that they're driving perfectly. Yeah. And you can't do that. There's no sense of urgency with these coaches. Everything now is, hey, we have the football. We're down by 7 points with 8 minutes left. Let's take the play clock down to 2 or 3 seconds to make sure we have the proper and correct play, and you're lucky if you get the football back. They coach themselves out of wins. It's pathetic. There's no sense of urgency. If you're trailing, you have to say, we're not going to score on this drive, right? You in your head, we're not scoring. How many times do we need the ball back? And run the play calls based off of that. There is no reason on a 40-second clock to allow the 35 seconds to elapse on every single play.
Yeah, but it's bad football across the board.
Because now the whole thing is we have to see the look for the defense to make sure. What happened to having a quarterback audible at the line of scrimmage? They don't do that anymore because they don't teach it in college.
This is a spot here where the Broncos, Joe, I agree with you, right? At some point they're going to be able to move the football, but Bo Nix is now 0 for 4 here in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, Jets have made defensive adjustments. There's no doubt that they've done that, and obviously they're onto something. But again, who's the better play caller in this situation? It's Sean Payton.
Right.
He's going to find a way at some point to get this offense to some sort of a rhythm, to get them across midfield and potentially kick a game-winning field goal. That's it. That's the bottom line. You got to believe it. And Bo Nix still has a better, more competent passing attack than the Jets have up until this point.
Well, yeah, by a lot, too. Again, you can't, overstate how awful these numbers look right now.
That's it, Evan Ingram. That's it.
That was the number you needed?
40.
But you need for other things or no?
No, that was it, 40.
Just played him for 4-0? Well, what was it? That couldn't have been a straight number, was
26 and a half.
So you got
20.
him up a little bit?
Yeah.
All right. No, that's good. He is supposed to be a player for them.
Well, he's now come on in 3 straight weeks.
Yeah.
They've slowly got him more acclimated into the offense. He creates mismatches on linebackers. What did I tell you? First down. Now watch. They'll run tempo. They'll be across midfield before you know it.
Yeah, look, I hope that I have a chance at this passing prop. He's at 137.5.
What do you need? 70?
73.
You got to hope that they score here.
And the Jets
score, and then.
No, I know.
I mean, it's not out of the realm. I mean,
no, it's not. But it's not.
You better hope that Denver kicks a field goal here. Right. Because then the Jets don't have to drive all that much to score a touchdown.
Never happening. Yeah, right. I know. Yeah, I mean, listen, if they could hit an explosive, that'd be great. Score quick. It would really be ideal here from the Denver side of things, or just move the ball quick. But, again, I played a bet, and we waited an hour after I played it for them to complete a pass.
Terrible.
I mean, it happens.
These international games have a way of losing game flow.
Have we had a good one yet?
I mean, Pittsburgh, Minnesota went down to the final.
Yeah, I mean, well, listen, they've all been close.
Right.
I don't know if they've been good.
No, I mean, it's been sloppy football. I think
We have another one next week or what?
I have to look at the schedule.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're playing in who knows where. Let's take a break. Let's come on back. It's another third down for Denver. When we come back, though, NFL insider Adam Kaplan joins the show. The latest he is hearing around the National Football League as we get set for a big-time Sunday. We are live on SportsGrid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Shedeur, which quarterbacks are you talking about? Because there is some bad quarterback play out there, but the dude who can't beat Dylan Gabriel out for a job and can't beat Joe Flacco out for a job certainly can't lay claim to being better than any other quarterback in the league.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
That's a lot for a closer. 10. You're not a closer anymore if you blow 10 games. I mean, my goodness. That's
he's mentally broken too. Like, it's to the point where, like, Dodger fans aren't even mad at him; they're more mad at the Dodgers for putting him out there.
Putting him in,
right? It's more so.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, guys, like, he's done.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Major League Baseball has decided it is time to put balls and strikes not just in the hands of the umpires, but also the robot umpires, as they say. The ABS system is now officially in place starting next season. Now, keep in mind, they're not just throwing this out there. They have used this at the Arizona Fall League, and they've also used it at different levels of the minor leagues as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Live on SportsGrid, it is Pro Football Today. We're now joined by NFL insider Adam Kaplan. And Cap, always good to talk to you on a Sunday. You know, we're going to get closer and closer to the NFL trade deadline. So the early portion of the season, we're looking to identify buyers, sellers, Jets, sellers. How close are we to seeing more and more deals done here across the league?
Kevin, great question. And also, every once in a while, you see a trade where the Jaguars, who obviously have been way better than we expected, they make a trade with a bad team, the Browns, for a corner. Both teams traded each other for corners. That was a very odd trade. You normally don't see that. But what happened there, Kevin, with Greg Newsome was the Browns were not going to extend his contract, so they moved him. And Tyson Campbell, as I understand it, although he's a good player, he's had a bunch of injuries in his career. He doesn't quite fit Anthony Campanelli's scheme there in Jacksonville. So they wanted to move him. So you kind of understand it better, but still it's an odd trade. But you set this up very well. One of the things, when I started covering the league in the early 2000s, the trade deadline was like week 5, week 6. Over a series of years, personnel people, general managers complained to the league, like, wait a minute, we need time to decide who we are, whether they're going to be sellers, buyers, or we're going to stay pat. And so through the competition committee, they let them know that let's push this back. So then it would be mid-October, then late October. Now it's actually the first Tuesday in November, the 4th at 4 p.m. Eastern. So that's why you see all sorts of rumors. Now, as a addition to this, Kevin, you have a number of teams are in it because, as I told you last week, the feeling around the league was, at the end of the season, there are no dominant teams in the league this year. So a bunch of teams have got a chance to get the playoffs. So, yeah, Kevin, as you set it up pretty well, there are a bunch of teams probably thought they wouldn't be in it, and they're gonna continue to evaluate it and look to make trades. It's going to be active, Kevin. It's going to be more active than usual, I believe.
Cap, I want to stick there. We saw the victory by the Giants over the Eagles. They have 2 wins now. It seems like Brian Dable potentially is safe with that aspect. But to your point, I mean, do they, big picture, maybe, are they going to be involved in the trade aspect in any capacity to try and upgrade this team this year?
All right, so when they took Abdul Carter, what I said is this: if they don't trade him, and they didn't trade Kayvon Thibodeau, this will be Thibodeau's absolutely certain last year, right? They've got the 5th-year option. They took care of that thing. But the bottom line is, Joe, if they're not in it by the end of this month, he's a guy, because they're somehow they're making it work with 3 edges, and Brian Burns is having a good year. they're making it work, but long term, it's not sustainable. And that's a guy. Watch Kayvon Thibodeau as we get closer to the trade deadline in early November. And by the way, just to make clear, they're not looking to move him, but not looking to move him, being realistic, are two different things. So that's the name to watch. Now, you mentioned the Giants, though. That was an unbelievable one, and they were severely shorthanded, particularly at receiver. No, I don't expect them to be buyers. It's still, and I told Kevin this to start the season, they have an unbelievably tough schedule. By far, in my rankings for strength of schedule, by far the hardest. And that game against Philly was remarkable. They absolutely beat up the Eagles. That was a stunner to me. I know Kevin's still mourning over that game. As I send it back to you, Kevin. But I don't expect them to be buyers. I don't see that at all. But as we get closer and their schedule gets harder, that's when you look for them to be sellers.
Cap, the player on the field right now who I know the Kansas City Chiefs have a running back problem. And
yes, they do.
The Jets have often, we've seen have something's gone on with Breece Hall, right? Whether he's sending out tweets or they're taking phone calls there. That seems to be this somewhat obvious marriage to me. Is Breece Hall a name to watch to you? Would the Chiefs be a landing spot then to watch?
Yes, if you mentioned 20 players and you said, okay, could you give me who you think is most likely to be traded, if at all? It would be Breece Hall. You didn't mention that same division, the Chargers. It's unfortunate. They lost one back for the season, Najee Harris, due to the torn Achilles. And then, Hampton's going to be out a while. So, yeah, they've got two young kids. Watch Kamani Vidal as a changeup out of Troy, who I really like. And they've got Hassan Haskins as more of a power back. But they can't get to the playoffs. And you know that Harbaugh wants to run the football. They're going to add another back at some point. They're a team to watch. That you're absolutely right. Like the Chiefs, it's funny, Kevin. My friends at WHB, I do radio every Thursday. They keep asking about it. I'm like, guys, they have plenty of backs, but they don't have enough explosiveness, and they don't have one guy that could be their lead back. I would agree with that one. That would be a team to watch. But Breece Hall, it's unfortunate. He got off to a phenomenal start 3 years ago with the Jets, and he tore his ACL. For whatever reason, and we know the offense was atrocious last year, it hasn't quite happened. And by the way, they made it pretty clear they're barring a sudden change of heart, they're not extending his contract. The reason why guys get traded who are on the final year of their deal is it's typically because the current team is not going to extend the deal.
Cap, you mentioned Harbaugh. They play the Miami Dolphins today. You have one name to keep an eye out on is Bradley Chubb, the edge rusher for the Dolphins. Yeah. Twofold. Potentially, if they lose today, is McDaniel out the door at some point, or the organization still backing him? And what can we expect from this defense moving forward?
Yeah, Stephen Ross, the owner, is very patient, but yeah, and obviously losing Tyreek Hill for the season, he may never play for them again. That was an awful knee injury he had, but yeah, I would say that's the name to watch when you're looking at potential changes before the season ends. There's no question about it. They've come up short after a great start for McDaniel there in Miami, but Bradley Chubb, now they restructured his contract. They've made it. I've had a look at it. I've asked people around the league about his contract. He's a good football player. He's just had the worst luck with injury, Joe. That's unfortunate. He's a guy, super high character, great for your locker room, still has plenty left, leading them in sacks, by the way. That's a name to watch as we get closer, because there are a ton of teams who need corners guys and edge rushers. Bradley Chubb's contract is when you look at, there's not very much guaranteed money left in it. It's a very tradable contract, and the guy, it's just unfortunate. He's had a lot of injuries. No, they're not trading Chop Robinson. That's not happening. I know some fans have asked, but there's no way. He's a foundational piece, but Bradley Chubb, it hasn't really worked, unfortunately, because of his injury.
Cap, quickly, and I know this is tough to do right before the break, but yeah. Miami, if they lose today, how loud does the noise get around McDaniel being fired?
Oh, but Joe just asked it. It's been loud. I mean, there's no question about it. The more you lose, the more it gets louder. And look, one thing I would tell you is when you remove a head coach in season, it rarely works. If you go back like 30 years, more often than not, it's just lipstick on a pig, so to speak. It's a bad football team. Expectations were higher. The offense has kind of regressed a little bit, and their defense, by the way, is just they just have a lack of talent on defense. That's really been the problem that surprised a lot of people. Now, they've had a lot of problems in their secondary at corner due to lack of talent. The Ramsey trade, it just has not worked out. It's not only that, you have to look at the front office too. What's happened there with their front office? Why have they not been better?
NFL insider Adam Kaplan, the Pro Football Doc, joins us next on SportsGrid.
you're O'Connell, you have a serious decision to make. Like, what is, again, he's been hurt now in back-to-back years, McCarthy.
Yeah.
You don't know what you have.
100%.
This is a similar situation to what the Niners did with Trey Lance. Like, if the guy can't stay on the field, and again, the limited, you have to do what's best for the organization.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Florida State put up 498 rushing yards on this defense, 8 rushing touchdowns, and they almost averaged 10 yards per carry.
Tough scene.
I mean, you got to be kidding me. It should be 60 to 7.
Yeah. Give me the 7.
I just gave you the 7.
Exactly. And
are you
the
on
extra
this?
Point. I'm thinking field goal and maybe a safety.
But are you on
Joe.
this? This is
Over
your best
3.5.
Okay.
Didn't you read the screen?
I
What are you not
could
paying
barely
attention
read
to the
it.
show?
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I can tell you right now, Jamar Chase is getting moved on a lot of teams. And I understand why. I mean, you don't have Joe Burrow coming back this year. It's just not happening. And then Jake Browning has been less than impressive. There's no doubt about that. So Jamar Chase is still an extraordinary talent, and I think buying him low is interesting. Why? Because if you do look, the schedule does get a little bit easier. The defense is still bad. Jake Browning has been productive.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Basically a year's worth of starts at this point, because remember, Drake May was not the starter out of the gate during his rookie year last year. That was Jacoby Brissett. There have been some, encouraging performances and, I think some flashes of what could be upper echelon talent within the scope of the league. But going into this year, we're going to find out.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Pro Football Today is live on SportsGrid. Time to bring in the Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chow. Make sure you head over to SixScore.com, get all the injury information and analysis that you need. Doc, how are we doing here on a Sunday?
Doing great. Good season so far, and lots of actionable injury things.
Well, then let's start in Indianapolis, Doc, where Kyler Murray ends up in absence here for Arizona. How much does this impact the SIC score, and what can you tell us about Kyler moving forward?
Well, we've been saying all week that Kyler Murray would not play. With his foot sprain injury, after the injury, he finished the game, but he was 4 of 7 for 26 yards. Wasn't planting on the back right foot, wasn't mobile, and one downfield throw was high. So why would you play Kyler Murray if he's not mobile and not necessarily accurate downfield? That's an easy call for Jacoby Brissett. This is not Patrick Mahomes playing through a high ankle sprain. This is Jacoby Brissett playing for Kyler Murray, who's not 100%. And it may extend beyond this week as well, unfortunately, for Kyler.
I want to stick there, Doc. I watched that whole game play out. They didn't pull him until he was hit in the face with the football on that drive where they turned the football over. When did this injury actually occur? Because he did play out the second half of the game and looked pretty good mobile running outside the pocket.
Well, it did happen on that play when the football hit him in the face mask. And people on Twitter were saying that's a concussion check. And I'm like, no, you can't get a concussion from a snap football into the face mask. But it surprises him and he steps back. And because the ball's on the ground, that's how he jams his foot and sprains his foot. And it's at that point that his throwing motion changes. He was a little bit like Brock Purdy, which we've talked about, not pushing off the back foot. Because it's a back foot, it affects his accuracy. Of course, he's so fast and speedy, he can move, but we could tell he didn't move the same after that injury. And of course, things swell overnight and get worse.
Don, can I just quickly stick with one quarterback injury that we know he's not playing this week. I feel like everyone is expecting the same thing is, they have the bye. Don't worry, Lamar will be back. For you guys over at SixScore.com, does that remain the expectation for Lamar Jackson?
That does remain the expectation for Lamar Jackson. And the biggest news out of Baltimore isn't even that. You guys know for several weeks now, we've been pounding the Ravens' defensive injuries. It started in week 4 with their D-line. We said, take the Chiefs, and the Chiefs won easily. And then last week, we were saying the line hasn't moved enough with Houston, even with Lamar out, because they got worse on defense. Guess what this week? National people are talking about the Ravens' defensive injuries. Guess what? They're actually on the come. They're healthier than where they were last week. There's a sick delta of 10 points on the Ravens. Kyle Hamilton is back. Marlon Humphrey is back. Kyle Van Noy is even healthier now. They still have some D-line issues. They still don't have Roquan Smith, but they are definitely healthier. And guess what? They signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson and traded for Aloe Gilman. So there are some defensive reinforcements for the Ravens.
Doc, speaking, though, of some banged-up defenses here, there's a couple popping up throughout this slate. Maybe the Chiefs in the driver's seat again, if you will. Detroit in a huge one on Sunday night. That defensive pass 6 score, my, oh my, that is ugly.
66.6 on the defense. And here's what it is. 2 D linemen out and your number 1 and number 2 corner out against Patrick Mahomes, right? It's a favorable matchup for KC again, just like it was 2 weeks ago playing Baltimore. The Chiefs get a little bit lucky here.
Doc, big matchup in South Beach. We got Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers on the road against Miami. Los Angeles dealing with multiple offensive injuries. Look at the 6 score. We got 76.3 to 76.4, fairly even in this matchup.
Yeah, this is 2 injured teams, but the Chargers' injuries are more recent, okay? They're looking for a running back now. They lost Najee Harris, now Omarion Hampton. And across the O-line with their injuries, they're going right tackle 3, left tackle 3, right guard 2, right? That's a lot of shuffle. It's difficult for them to play through. And so we'll see what happens there. But Miami has their share of issues. And the other team that has a lot of issues cluster is Seattle against Jacksonville. 3 of 4 starting secondary is out for Seattle. Witherspoon, Love, Reek Woolen are all out. 3 out of 4 secondary starters for the Seahawks are out.
A lot of injuries there, which is why you go over to SixScore.com, where, listen, I know you guys find the side edges, but I know you guys do a great job with those props as well. All of this information relevant and available over there at SixScore.com. The Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chow. Doc, we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, great stuff as always. We'll get you a London update and begin the whip around next.
If you're O'Connell, you have a serious decision to make. Like, what is, again, he's been hurt now in back-to-back years, McCarthy.
Yeah.
You don't know what you have.
100%.
There's a similar situation to what the Niners did with Trey Lance. Like, if the guy can't stay on the field, and again, the limited, you have to do what's best for the organization.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Florida State put up 498 rushing yards on this defense, 8 rushing touchdowns, and they almost averaged 10 yards per carry.
Tough scene.
I mean, you got to be kidding me. It should be 60 to 7.
Yeah. Give me the 7.
I just gave you the 7.
Exactly. And
are you
the
on
extra
this?
Point. I'm thinking field goal and maybe a safety.
But are you on
Joe.
this? This is
Over
your best
3.5.
Okay.
Didn't you read the screen? What are you not paying attention to the show?
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I can tell you right now, Jamar Chase is getting moved on a lot of teams. And I understand why. I mean, you don't have Joe Burrow coming back this year. It's just not happening. And then Jake Browning has been less than impressive. There's no doubt about that. So Jamar Chase is still an extraordinary talent, and I think buying him low is interesting. Why? Because if you do look, the schedule does get a little bit easier. The defense is still bad. Jake Browning has been productive.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Basically a year's worth of starts at this point, because remember, Drake May was not the starter out of the gate during his rookie year last year. That was Jacoby Brissett. There have been some, encouraging performances and, I think some flashes of what could be upper echelon talent within the scope of the league. But going into this year, it was, We're going to find out.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
A torturous football game here between the Jets and the Broncos. Awful decisions after awful decision. And these guys thought I was being conservative Charlie here. All you had to do on 3rd and 8 was run the ball, force Denver to use the timeout, and you could go for it. Maybe you pick up the first down with your ground game, but you get yourself a guaranteed field goal.
They're dead to rights right now.
Well, now you got to throw for an 8-yard pickup here. The offense has been destroyed all game. You have no timeout, a million pass rushers, and he's sacked again. Really, I can't believe I had to sit through this game. Cost me money. I got whacked around. I did. I got smashed in this game. Justin Fields and me, no different. Only difference is he threw for 45 more yards than me. 8 sacks. What awful play calling, awful decision making.
They got the cover.
Okay, never mind.
Hang
the banner. Hang the banner. The 0-6 Jets. Sit what, 3-3 against the number?
Hey, it was a gutty win as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned, they did exactly.
Gosh. Just run it on the 3rd and 8. Oh, look at now. You shouldn't be allowed to celebrate. You only beat the Jets by 2.
What do you need out of Bo Nix?
You think with 109 left and the Jets having no timeouts, I could get another 36 yards?
Don't be afraid to air it out.
Great. I spent the whole commercial, the whole halftime listening to you tell me to take Bo Nix's rushing. He's going to have negative rush yards in the second half. Thanks.
Yeah, we were close.
Yeah, what about the 550?
The 550? What do you mean?
Remember the 550 passing?
Yeah.
They didn't get to 250.
That's why it was a lottery ticket. I said I like the Jets. I said under.
Don't start selling me winners now. Don't. Hey, I gave you the Jets.
Hey,
premium plays.
Premium plays are on fire.
We gave you the Jets. Jets and under. Sign up shitty. Listen, whip around time?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hopefully these go better. I'm smashed before 1 on these games. I cannot believe that this game destroyed me. I can. Why did I get involved live? That's on me, not
That
you.
is on you.
All right.
That's on you.
You didn't have to run up the score. I said it was on me.
It was on you.
Right.
You just didn't see the writing on the wall. Knee it! Let's get out of Dodge. Let's go.
All right, Steelers-Browns. This is where we begin with this game. Steelers-Browns, 38.5 total, 6.5 spread.
I'll take a shot. I like the Browns' divisional matchup. Still think their defense can contain Aaron Rodgers. Ugly type of game. Under the 38.5. Do like Quinshon Judkins over 77 and a hook today.
Can I get a 7, 6.5 everywhere? I lean Browns. I'm not playing it. This is a disgusting football game.
All right, good.
I'm so glad to not be betting it, although there's a sick part of me that could see me betting like Dylan Gabriel yards during the commercial.
Yeah? Yards for Dylan Gabriel?
Yeah, might have something to it.
All right.
I don't know. Don't give up just yet. Chargers, 3.5 favorite, total 45.5. They're in South Beach against the Dolphins. Talk to me.
Favorite side as a favorite today. I like the Chargers to win this game by double digits. Yep. I just think Harbaugh's a better coach. Justin Herbert, a better quarterback than Tua, and I still believe in their offense and defensive identity, minus all the injuries that they have on the offensive side of the ball. Keenan Allen, 59.5, seems to be the security blanket for Justin Herbert. I just think Mike McDaniel's dead man walking. After that game where he got out-coached by Dave Canales, can't buy in even though they're at home. This is a cheap number. It was 4.5 for most of the week. Now it's 3.5. Again, I think they win it by double digits.
Early week, lean Miami. I backed off of this game, though, as the number dropped here. I think there could be some shots to take in the receiving game. Reminder, no Quentin Johnston here. A lot of eyes are on Keenan Allen. I'm very, very interested in some Ladd McConkey options here in this one. Saints-Pats, I like New Orleans at 3.5. I bet the Saints here. I think this is a spot to sell the Pats off their big-time win. I think this number's moved a little far. At 2.5, no disagreements, but 3 and a hook with a Saints team that's been competitive at home once again. Give me New Orleans to cover. They might win it outright.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I would take the over as my best play. I'm on it, 45.5. Did lean to the prop side with New England. Hunter Henry over 40.5. Took a shot. I think Kayshon Boutte coming back home to LSU in the Bayou. I think he breaks out 29.5, up from 27.5 earlier. I think he could hit pay dirt as well.
All right, how about this Jags-Seahawks game here? Seattle's going to close as a favorite. I do think that's a mistake, but I don't trust Jacksonville enough. Short week played on a Monday to get to the Jag side here. I do trust Brian Thomas Jr. over 57.5 receiving yards. The LSU superstar, I think, is starting to get his rhythm back here. 80 last week in a big spot against KC. We just talked to the doc. Banged up Seahawks secondary. I think we see Brian Thomas Jr. have a big one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I altered him as high as 90 at plus 320, so he could break out. Again, I think the Jags are the right side. After the high-scoring games for both of the Kansas City with Jacksonville and then Tampa Bay with Seattle, I'm leaning to the under, but don't love it. I still like the Jags to potentially win this game.
All right, let's talk a little Colts-Cardinals. Quick update. A second Colt has been injured in pregame warmups.
Wow, what is going on over there?
Mooney Ward with a concussion.
Okay, in warmups. All right. Okay.
Does that impact your breakdown for this game at all?
No, I still like the Cards with Jacoby Brissett. Did take Bam Knight today in the rushing attack. He's a heavy runner from NC State. I did alt him to 50-plus. Look, I think Jacoby Brissett. I think Jacoby Brissett. Bam Knight. He's a physical runner. I think they need a hint of a rushing attack. They're not. And now Jacoby Brissett potentially coming back home to one of his 50 teams that he used to play for. Maybe he steps up. I like the Cards plus the 9.5, but give me a McBride to hit pay dirt, and I'll take Bam Knight.
This number actually opened a little short on Indianapolis, around 5.5. Who would have thought that at the time we get to close 9.5? No Kyler Murray, of course, is the big thing that's impacted this number. Hard to get a read on who Jacoby Brissett's favorites will be here. I do think Marvin Harrison Jr. continues to trend up. Not a game I'm on pregame. I am tempted to get involved here with this Ravens-Rams matchup, though. And this is one we've talked about, Joe, throughout the show here. Baltimore, 6.5, 7-point home underdog to the LA Rams. On Derrick Henry over the rush yards here. You can get a 70-plus at around minus 110, but I think King Henry has an opportunity to break off a few big ones.
I'm with you. 16.5 rushing attempts, altered him to 90-plus. He probably could hit pay dirt, but for me, the 6.5 is appealing. I just don't see L.A. coming in there and smacking them around. I think it's a lower-scoring game. I trend to the under. I understand the L.A. potentially could be the more complete team, but in this spot, playing at home, I think Baltimore could be live.
CLV Super Bowl, what do I mean? I played an under in Panthers-Cowboys, 48.5 late last night. Weather in the forecast. Don't trust Bryce Young to put together, a big game just because it's a bad defense. Dak could be due for a bad one. His offensive line is still banged up. Lamb is still banged up. But this total's now down to 46.5, so I may get the CLV championship belt, and then all of a sudden Ted McMillan's in the end zone 2 or 3 times here, Joe. I'm on under Panthers-Cowboys.
You might get that. I like the Panthers plus the points.
Really?
I do. I think it's back-to-back road games for Dallas, laying a field goal. They laid basically 2.5 to the New York Jets. We saw Bryce Young and that team make second-half adjustments. They attacked over the top. Keep an eye out for the tight ends for Carolina today.
Panthers unbeaten at home so far. Could get to 3-3.
Not bad, right?
Are they decent?
I think they're at least a 6-7 win football team.
You couldn't. I never would have believed you if you said that after 2 weeks.
Why? What do you like today in that?
Listen, I'm playing the under. It's a bizarre. Let me ask you quickly before the break. Rico Dowdle last week, 200, goes up against the former team. Is that interest you at all?
I would always say yes, but again, I feel like everybody's going to key on him in this matchup.
How do you not?
And I think it's Bryce Young with the if they're going to win this game, they're going to have to put up points, and they're going to have to do it in the passing attack just the way they did against Miami. We know Dak potentially could eat. So that's why I would lean to Carolina. Tommy Tremble, 19.5, I think is light.
You'll notice the rush numbers are really high in this game. Again, I think weather impacting as well. But Javonte Williams, 74.5. Rico Dowdle, 72.5. Not marquee backs, but not cheap prices when you look at those guys. We still got a lot to hit here. We've got the entire 4 o'clock window featuring a couple of our best bets, as well as Sunday Night Football. How do we get involved here with the Chiefs and the Lions? One of the big games that we've seen early season. Can the Lions make a statement, maybe move to Super Bowl favorites? Can KC make a statement, get back to 500, and make a case as potentially AFC favorites? We're going to break that down after this quick commercial. We're live on SportsGrid. Be right back.
If you're O'Connell, you have a serious decision to make. Like, what is, again, he's been hurt now in back-to-back years, McCarthy.
Yeah.
You don't know what you have.
100%.
This is a similar situation to what the Niners did with Trey Lance. Like, if the guy can't stay on the field, and again, limited, you have to do what's best for the organization.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Florida State put up 498 rushing yards on this defense, 8 rushing touchdowns, and they almost averaged 10 yards per carry.
Tough scene.
I mean, you got to be kidding me. It should be 60-7.
Yeah. Give me the 7.
I just gave you the 7.
Exactly. And
are you
the
on
extra
this?
point. I'm thinking field goal and maybe a
but
safety.
Are you on
Joe.
this? This is
Over
your best
3.5.
Okay.
Didn't you read the screen?
I
What are you not
could
paying
barely
attention
read
to the show?
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I can tell you right now, Jamar Chase is getting moved on a lot of teams. And I understand why. I mean, you don't have Joe Burrow coming back this year. It's just not happening. And then Jake Browning has been less than impressive. There's no doubt about that. So Jamar Chase is still an extraordinary talent, and I think buying him low is interesting. Why? Because if you do look, the schedule does get a little bit easier. The defense is still bad. Jake Browning has been productive.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Basically a year's worth of starts at this point, because remember, Drake May was not the starter out of the gate during his rookie year last year. That was Jacoby Brissett. There have been some, encouraging performances and, I think some flashes of what could be upper echelon talent within the scope of the league. But going into this year, we're going to find out.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
We're back right here on SportsGrid.
Wow.
And I'm singing a little, Fergalicious definition. You know what I mean? And a pretty iconic song. Pretty well known who sings it. It's in the name. Lisi asked me, is that the Costco guys? That's what I'm dealing with on a Sunday morning. Raiders, Titans, what do you like here?
I like points aplenty.
One of your better games?
Yeah, one of my better games. Could be a best bet. You have to wait till later. But the way Cam Ward evolved in that matchup against Arizona, 269. Calvin Ridley with a huge performance in the second half of that matchup. He had multiple drops in the first half.
Right.
He only had basically 64 passing yards in the first half, busted out with 200. I think that momentum continues. I still lean to the Raiders at home, but I like the over 41.5. Even without Brock Bowers, I think Geno Smith could eat. I look all to the secondary options. Probably would go back to an anytime touchdown potentially for Calvin Ridley and maybe Jacoby Myers today.
I will say this is a spot that I think Geno Smith plays well in. No touchdown passes in his last game. When Geno was coming off of a game with no touchdown passes over the last 2 years, he's thrown 3 or more in 4 of those 5 situations. I think they throw it against Tennessee today. It could be a little bit in line in what you're talking about, Joe. Zombie Bowl, everybody's injured. Bucks Niners, 3.5-point spread in favor of the home Bucks. Niners off the mini-bye. Total in this one, 46.5.
Yeah, I go to Christian McCaffrey. I think it's a get-right game for him on the ground. I know he's been utilized in the air, but 55.5, I think he can ult him to 70, 80+, not to take away from Tampa's front seven. But again, they've had a gauntlet of a schedule up until this point.
Yep.
Now going playing back home, the humidity, I just think San Fran can run it. I'll take a shot. I still lean Tampa Bay minus the points, but I like the under 47.5 as my best bet, and I'll take a shot with McCaffrey on the ground today.
Little love for CMC. I'll probably end up playing a little CMC Rashad White special, each for 100 rush receiving, maybe each for a touchdown, see if we can get some boosts out there in the mix. One of my favorite games of the day out of nowhere, Green Bay, Cincinnati, 14.5-point spread. Total in this one, 44.5. I am on Green Bay. No, I'm not. I'm on Cincinnati plus 14.5. I'm on Green Bay's running back Josh Jacobs in this one. I think this 14.5 is a little tall here, though, Joe. Give me Cincinnati to cover this game, keep it close, something like a 28-17 final score.
It's possible. I mean, this, for me, I would take the points reluctantly. I would take a shot on the over 44.5. If you brought Flacco in there, you didn't bring him in there to just hand off to Chase Brown and those running backs. It's got to be Higgins. It's got to be Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase got going in the fourth quarter last week. Again, this is more of an in-game bet. I want to see how Flacco performs in the first couple of series. Then I can make an assessment. Maybe you get a high 30, 36.5, 37 total. Then I jump in there. But I would take the points if you want pregame.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be a fun one to follow here, 4 o'clock slate, Joe. But then we get to the night game. It's the Chiefs and the Lions, 2.5-point spread. Total in this one is 52.5. Just sidewise here, how strong are you feeling heading into this game? I think it's a pretty tough call.
It's tough because the Chiefs are at home, but I'm still willing to back the more consistent team. The team right now with the better offense, I believe, is Detroit, and I think their defense is just as good as Kansas City up until this point. You saw Kansas City get exposed by Jacksonville and some of the other teams from an offensive perspective. I think Detroit has the weapons to challenge them. They went in here a couple of years ago and got the victory. I think they're coming out with a victory as well. I'll take a shot. I do feel tight ends. Laporta could be an option today because of how Kansas City defends tight ends, but give me the over.
Yeah, I think it's fun, Joe, to see that the expectations are the Chiefs are going to be fly high, high-flying offense once again, which is where all of the numbers check in this one. Let me just ask you this. If the Lions do win this game, especially for someone like yourself who has been so, early season at least, strong on a team like the Eagles, would you then see the Lions as the best team in football?
Yes. Again, because seeing what happened with Buffalo last week and where we are, you have to go. They'd be winning 5 straight games.
Yeah.
And you talk about margin and identity. I know Detroit has an offensive identity again. It was a little bit in flux after week 1 with a new play caller, but now they're developing into the offense that we saw last year. They're opportunistic on defense. They stopped high-powered offenses. They shut down Jamar Chase for 3 quarters in garbage time. I mean, they're playing their best right now. So if they go into Arrowhead and win this game convincingly, I mean, it's not to take away from the Eagles, but the Eagles have a serious situation inside the locker room right now that needs to get fixed.
No, look, I think for Philadelphia, the game against the Giants absolutely, should be knocking them down when we talk power ratings and things like that. I think for the Lions, this is a group who, over the summer, I remember considering, as a potential Super Bowl future because I thought the defense would be better. I had questions about what the offense would look like, offensive line changes and no Ben Johnson. They're answering the bell on both sides of the football right now. I think Dan Campbell makes a very compelling Coach of the Year case. I know Shane Steichen right now is, the lead dog. Those new coaches, Liam Cohen, these guys get, Mike Vrabel, they get a lot of love in the market. But we talked a lot about the guys who left for Detroit. And right now, Detroit looks pretty similar to, who they were last year. Well, Dan Campbell's the one who stuck around, so he deserves a lot of credit for that. But speaking of last year's Lions, the season fell apart as the defense continued to face injuries. And I do wonder for Detroit, sometimes it doesn't get better. Like the Niners and all their injuries, right? It's like, last year was bad, this year it'll be fine, and then it wasn't. It just keeps getting worse. I just think it's something to follow. On the KC side of it, though, Joe, you can't stress the importance of this one. Because, again, 0-2, it's like, look, we played 2 weeks, relax, right? 2-3, hey, we lost a coin flip game. 2-4. I mean, listen, I understand that, these are good teams they've lost. 2-4 is 2-4.
2-4, a loss to the Detroit Lions, right? And if they lose, and a loss to the Eagles that beat them in the Super Bowl. That tarnish is starting to wear off now, where they could just walk out there and beat any team. They can't. It happened on the primetime matchup. They got exposed.
And I think for the Chiefs, the year they beat the Niners in the Super Bowl when Purdy was the quarterback, they had to play some road games, right? They had to go to Buffalo, they go to Baltimore. The idea of Kansas City being a wild card team, that was very jarring. And a loss here today, Denver already won this morning. Chargers are booked as favorites. If you have multiple 4-2 teams,
it's
Again,
That's why their win total was 9.5.
It's one thing when you're chasing one team, right, that you have to pull back into range here. So I think it's a bigger game for Kansas City. They're booked as favorites. I actually lean Kansas City on the side, but again, I've mentioned it. Jahmyr Gibbs rushing yards over 65.5, my favorite bet in that game. Let's do our favorite bets of the day. Best bets and sell me something as we close it out and send it off to In Game Live. We're with you right here on SportsGrid.
If you're O'Connell, you have a serious decision to make. Like, what is, again, he's been hurt now in back-to-back years, McCarthy.
Yeah.
You don't know what you have.
100%.
This is a similar situation to what the Niners did with Trey Lance. Like, if the guy can't stay on the field, and again, limited, you have to do what's best for the organization.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Florida State put up 498 rushing yards on this defense, 8 rushing touchdowns, and they almost averaged 10 yards per carry.
Tough scene.
I mean, you got to be kidding me. It should be 60 to 7.
Yeah. Give me the 7.
I just gave you the 7.
Exactly. And
Are
miss
you
the
on
extra
this?
point. I'm thinking field goal and maybe a
But
safety.
are you on
Joe.
this? This is
Over
your best
3.5.
bet? Okay.
Didn't you read the screen? What are
I
you not
could
paying
barely
attention
read
to
it.
the show?
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I can tell you right now, Jamar Chase is getting moved on a lot of teams. And I understand why. I mean, you don't have Joe Burrow coming back this year. It's just not happening. And then Jake Browning has been less than impressive. There's no doubt about that. So Jamar Chase is still an extraordinary talent, and I think buying him low is interesting. Why? Because if you do look, the schedule does get a little bit easier. The defense is still bad. Jake Browning has been productive.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Basically a year's worth of starts at this point, because remember, Drake May was not the starter out of the gate during his rookie year last year. That was Jacoby Brissett. There have been some, encouraging performances and, I think some flashes of what could be upper echelon talent within the scope of the league. But going into this year, we're going to find out.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Live with you right here on SportsGrid, Kevin Walsh and Joe Lisi. Sunday slate about to begin. How do we feel?
I feel good. I'm looking good. I want to see Derrick Henry. I told you I'm on Keyshawn Boutte. Couple of prop bets here, but I do feel good about the Chargers, and I do feel good about my best bet.
Well, let's get right to it then, Joe. There's a trend building. So I want to let you deliver your breakdown, and then I have a couple of questions for you. Best bet.
So, no, I mean, we'll go to the 4 o'clock window. I mean, we were on the total in Arizona last week with Tennessee, and it came through just exactly. That game should have been in the 50s, by the way. If DeMarcado doesn't drop the football, you can make the argument. We 52, 55 plus.
Yep.
That being said, I really liked what I saw out of Cam Ward, especially in the second half of the game. He looked poised. He looked confident. Oh, by the way, they got the victory, so now this team's not going to be dead and buried heading out onto the road against Las Vegas, where I think they could throw over the top of them. And again, you have Geno Smith, to your point, that you mentioned has been inconsistent in the passing attack because they played better defenses. I don't think Tennessee's that great of a defense, and I think they could get exposed. I expect all those wide receivers to step up. I think potentially Ward and Geno Smith could throw for 550, 600 plus. Give me up and away. I think we go blow to the 50s in this game.
So you said it right off the bat because you know exactly what I'm getting at. The trend that's building. Second week in a row. 4 o'clock window.
Yeah.
Is that an off-air conversation? I'm just curious
I
because
think
it's noteworthy to me.
Because it used to be the 1 o'clock.
Every time.
Right, and now the 1 o'clocks, I just feel like
You're doing well on best bets this year.
I believe so.
I'm pretty sure I wouldn't say that if I thought it wasn't the case.
Right, okay.
So, but it wasn't. You didn't start the year in the 4s.
No. We used to last year was all the 1 o'clocks.
Your favorite bet of the year could be in the 4s, and you'd still give out a best bet in the 1s.
Right.
So I just say it's noteworthy to me.
So now it's like if people lose in the 1 o'clock window, you could get it back with the best.
Lift them up.
Right.
Fair enough.
Second half adjustments.
Double 4 o'clock window then. My best bet's Josh Jacobs, 80-plus rushing yards. This was, listen, again, 80-plus minus 110 was the best number that I found. 80.5, 81.5, 80, whatever it might be. This is a spot where I think Green Bay gives their workhorse back 20-plus carries. Remember, Josh Jacobs started the year slow, had a monster game against Dallas, and I think that trend continues off the bye. Jordan Love turnovers are the only thing that have slowed up this Packers group. I know they've been aggressive. I know it's looked good. I bet you they're not as comfortable with that as the observers. I expect plenty of Josh Jacobs in a game where they're a 2-touchdown-and-a-half favorite against a defense that is starting to break a little bit because the offense has not lifted them up enough this year. Been poor against the run, Cincinnati. I like Jacobs on the ground a lot.
Yeah, listen, we know that they utilize him early and often. It takes the pressure off for Jordan Love in the play-action passing attack as well.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think they could be one-dimensional in this matchup, and you have a dead football team potentially in Cincinnati. I mean, they start 2-0. They've lost 3 straight by basically, 25.3 points per game. Defense can't slow down anybody. So why not you feed Josh Jacobs early? Maybe bust it for 100 yards in the first half. It's possible.
All right, now I'm actually sell me something style, Joe. I'm above you on this one.
Yeah,
price-wise.
Typically, I should have went with like a tight end touchdown parlay.
I was inspired by you.
Why?
With mine, but go ahead, give yours.
No, mine's pedestrian. I mean, what if Jacoby Brissett just bounces back to what he was at NC State when he played, and all of a sudden now, and he throws for 300 yards in this game against Daniel Jones and Indianapolis. I think it's a plus 430 number. Yeah, there you go, 275. Why can't he? Why can't he?
Especially if they're supposed to get their doors blown off, right? Might as well let him.
I mean, I know Geno Smith looked terrible in that performance. Yeah. I mean, I feel like they just didn't even know the game started last week.
It was what's crazy is they had an opportunity to steal a field goal right before half, a little bit of momentum. And once they missed that, you just knew it was over, and boy, it was. This is a double bounce back, maybe it's our week special. Ladd McConkey, Brian Thomas Jr., each for 100-plus receiving yards. Basically 22-1. Who do you like more of the two? I know the answer to that. Do you like Ladd at all? Whoa, wait. You like Ladd more?
Yeah.
You have Brian Thomas bets in.
I do, but I have Thomas to 90. I mean, Thomas has let me down. I needed 10 yards and a touchdown against primetime against Kansas City.
You know what? I know in the back they caught that. I hope you did out there, too.
Why?
You like Ladd more. You have Brian Thomas
because
to 90. And I know you.
Hang on.
It's not because you're a bad person, but you can't help yourself. You want Brian Thomas in between 90 and 99. No. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. If that was a 90-90, maybe I'd get you in.
Let me elaborate. I feel strongly about the Chargers more than I do about the total in Jacksonville.
So you love that Herbert over passing?
I took it.
I know.
247.
I've seen a few.
You're making me cough.
I've seen a couple places that like that Herbert overpassing. Interesting wheel spot. In-game live. Next on SportsGrid.
Keep this on me for now, right now.
Uh-oh.
I was the one telling the people out here, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, if they lost the first 2 football games of the season, would still be in the hunt to make a college football playoff. I talked to Joe Lisi quite a bit during the week, and you know what Joe Lisi's been telling me? Notre Dame just might be the best football team in the country right now, and I believe him. I do. Rolling over teams. The offense is out there right now, and I don't think anybody can stop them.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Is it going to be Gabriel over the next 4 or 5 weeks? Or is it going to be?
I know.
But that's where they're at right now. Because that mentality, changes. We go from rebuild at 1-3 to all of a sudden at 2-3, the bell goes off, and he in his head, probably drinking a beer at night, goes, "Hey, I can get this team to the playoffs."
Listen,
but that's the way these coaches think.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
So let's just start right there. Malik Neighbors, Tyreek Hill, done for 2025. Think of the managers that invested the draft capital. Man, oh man, what to do.
Yeah, this is really tough. I had people message me, man, I had Neighbors and Hill, and I lost them both in the same week. That's tough. It's a tough day at the office for sure. And that's why you watch us here on FST, Fantasy Sports Today. We're trying to help you.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
At this event, people from Amazon and Alexa made it very clear that in addition to Sports Highlight coming up, you will be able to perhaps buy sports tickets to events, buy movie tickets, arrange fantasy football teams, and I think somewhere down the road, maybe not too far down the road, given the NBA on Prime deal, they will allow sports betting on the television set through Alexa Plus.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.